All right, it started. What's up, everybody? Um, Thanks for all the crazy interest in my start to 3D creations for some drag racing stuff. Um, I know probably a lot of people in the drag racing world don't know who I am, and that's perfectly okay. Um, I've been in RC for, oh man, 35, 7, something like that years. Um, I used to have a hobby shop and racetrack in Westland, Michigan, also down in just outside of Toledo, Ohio, for a little bit. I've raced obviously a lot of on-road stuff over the years, oval, off-road, all kinds of different things. Um, I quit racing a couple years, about 2 years ago, and but the one thing I've found that I really miss is making stuff. So whether it be drawing or machining stuff with my dad back before he passed. Besides the people at all the races, one of the big things I really miss is just making and creating stuff. So uh, we'll jump right into it. So, real quick before I do that, I've seen some people already make comments about you can't race with any of this stuff. 3D printed stuff's not strong enough. Yada yada yada. Um, I think the first time I ran some 3D printed parts were maybe 2014 ish, something like that. So, if you've seen some of my links and stuff, I do have a shop up on Shapeways where I've thrown a bunch of the stuff that I've made for 3D printing over the years. One of the things, which is rear wing. I guess I got too many lights on; it's kind of washed out. But I made some turn car wings, all kinds of crazy stuff on them. And this one, I think, actually top qualified IIC in Las Vegas with Mr. Klingforth a while back. Mike G is actually running some of the wings that a friend of his now printed that I've uploaded to GrabCAD at the IIC, the big race that Scotty puts on in Las Vegas over the years. I did make some crazy super lightweight 3D printed end bells and timing rings, and actually won 12 scale modified using these the one year. The main reason is it just helped align the bearings and the sensor board a lot better at the time than what the motors were. They've been improved a lot, so something like this really isn't needed anymore. But also, I was trying to find the video to throw up. I don't remember if it was Jody Utt or maybe Dale. I want to say his last name's Gillette. Getting old, I don't remember so great anymore. But they posted a video from the Snowbird Nationals, the Pro Mod Oval cars, where I won Pro Mod Oval, and that was actually one of Danny Stockman's cars that I drove. Some may recognize the name from NASCAR crew chief fame, but I drove one of his oval cars there, and the 3D printed right front wheel that I ran was actually printed with camber in it and really stiff, super lightweight. Needless to say, I ran it a whole bunch of runs at the Snowbirds. I had a couple of them, and I wound up winning the race there with that. So it is possible to race with 3D printed parts. I will say, though, if you're looking at doing like something that's straight from injection molding or a typical process of doing things, and you try and just take it and throw it on one of the FDM or resin printers or anything like that, you're gonna fail. So what you have to do is yeah, the one of the things that you have to do is you have to kind of change your design technique or philosophy, and that's one of the things I've done with this, and I wanted to kind of show already some of the things that I'm changing and that I've done. I'm not just some dummy that's throwing some CAD files into a printer and saying, hey, look, I can race this. anybody can do that, but I'm actually doing some homework behind it. So let me throw that up. All right. So this is SolidWorks, and it's a 3D CAD program. And one of the things I've been doing is, for example, so I'm going to take this first tire. This was one of the early rims that I drew. Looks pretty cool, but I made all this intentionally really thin. Really, really thin. Now, in SolidWorks, you can also go into a pretty good material database, but I really wanted to find some that had some yield strength and some pretty low yield strengths to match 3D printing, or things that were, I guess especially for resin printers, are known to be pretty non-compliant, aka they tend to shatter. So Delrin was actually not too bad. I tried a few others, but this one was actually fairly close. And so what I had done was printed some of these, and I actually used a scale and just kind of mashed on them. I'm in the process of rebuilding my garage, so once I have that set up, then I'll be able to like set up a camera and show you guys how I was kind of trying to load the wheel and do some of that stuff to actually break them and figure out where they would break. And so let me show you, like, I pretty much busted all these up pretty good, but when I'm in the other screen, I'll show you. But so in SolidWorks, what I've been doing is running some simulation, just some basic at this point. I want to set up some different ones, but it was just to kind of reference the materials and the way that everything was moving, and if the material was actually breaking in the spots that matched all the analysis. So when you kind of look at these, you can see the bright red spots are basically where it's going to break. And any of the guys that are smarter than me, that understand what all the numbers and yield strength and all that kind of stuff means, basically, you know, when you start figuring this out, it's not much. It's like, I want to say it was around like 20 pounds of pressure is what this equals out to. It's around 20 to 25, 26, depending on the wheel that I broke. Just in this range of motion. There's some other like impact hits and things like that I'm going to do on them, but this is exactly where they all broke. Per each wheel, jump back to my other screen. So this one I beat up on because I was doing some other stuff, and I was also already like gluing some tires and trying to pull on them and seeing if the rubber would actually stick or if it was going to fail and tear. And you can see I actually started tearing the rubber. So, but anyway, so this is where I'm trying to actually crack these. I've broken all of them just to see if the information that I have matches up with what's in SolidWorks. So that's what I've been working on with these, and amongst these and a bunch of other things. So this was kind of the start of it, and this is where a bunch of people were asking me about buying some right away. And this is where I wasn't ready for that because I'm still doing a couple tests. I'm not just doing the 3D printed rubber, I'm doing some other things as well that will be possibly even better. I won't get into details on that because, well, I agreed with my wife and some of my other racing friends that I've showed this to that I won't totally show you guys the whole process unless like the channel and all that stuff explodes and I have a lot more you know, YouTube subscribers and stuff like that to be able to help compensate a little bit for, you know, making the channel monetize a little bit and helping pay for all the stuff that I'm basically giving away, type of a thing. So I made an agreement with a couple racer friends of mine and my wife not to totally do that. So so that's the story why I'm not just telling you guys all the information on what I'm using, the materials, and how to do it. I would like to do that, and eventually I will do that. But for now, I need to keep that a little bit secret, especially while I'm still figuring things out, because this is still pretty early. I've done maybe 5 to 10 revisions as far as different print settings, different things with the Chitu box print program, which I'll show that real quick. So needless to say, I'm not just trying to crank some stuff out. I'm actually trying to be at least somewhat smart. Oops, I'm in the wrong one. Close that real quick. All right, so here's the one I did for Frank and threw his name on it just to see what it would look like. In this, you can see too, what I made was like a snap-in hubcap, because that was one of the things. I always have a tendency to make stuff that looks okay, but it's more based towards performance. I'm from everything I've been in with the on-road racing or whatever, we just want to go as fast as possible. But I know a lot of the appeal of drag racing is the scale appearance of it. So I'm trying to do that, add the studs. Now, some people will notice that I'm not doing the typical 5-bolt pattern. The reason for this is the wheel hex. As soon as you do a 5-bolt pattern, you immediately make any wheel out of balance. So I know it's not perfect to scale, but that's kind of where I draw the line, is inherently designing in a product that already needs balancing tape right off the bat. Ideally, a perfect product should not have that. So I added 6 lugs. I know it's not perfect to scale, but that's kind of where I draw the line. I won't make a product that's already flawed from the beginning. So I'll make it, try and look as close as I can to a realistic part that's going to work good and aesthetically be pleasing to what you guys are looking for. But I won't make it 5 and make it out of balance like every other manufacturer is doing right now. To me, that's just dumb. So like I said, this is a serrated lock nut, so it fits in, goes in the wheel cap, that snaps in. I think this was the one I was test fitting. Yep. So here, close that. Yeah, so you can see a little hubcap there in the center. And it just pops out. So it's got little tabs on it, whatever. So it just press fits in. Again, trying to make it look so it's cool and aesthetically pleasing. And it is a rubber tire. It's not it's not plastic. It's not garbage. It is rubber. So trust me, trying to figure out how to do some of the stuff with these resins is really interesting. There are some different materials I still want to try. There's different processes I'm trying and doing. So again, this is why a bunch of people have emailed me or messaged me right away about wanting to buy them. I will gladly sell them and make them for people. Here's the thing though, and I really want everybody to understand. It takes time. It's not a big printer. And actually, give me 2 seconds. All right. So this is one of the build platforms. And you can see that's it. You're really only getting 2 or 3 tires on a tray at a time. So I have one printer that I just got only a few days ago and started playing with it. So trust me, this is only the beginning of the craziness that I'm going to be doing and making and playing with and trying. Yeah, Mike, I printed that tire and some other ones on it. So I think in order to get, well, this one here that I cut to check the section, I think it took me like 5 or 6 tries. So, and I didn't do these like I've seen some of the DE wheels or some of that where they have the Lexan or the plastic coming up to the contact patch of the tire. I still wanted it to have a little bit of squish so that it print farm time. Yeah, that takes money. I don't have that. I was happy. I was just ecstatic that my wife let me buy this one. So, but the big thing is just print time. So it takes me about 3 hours to make a wheel. There's lots of different colors, so I can do them in different colors and all that kind of stuff. I've also done different patterns. So like this one, I'm calling a double V. This one was a deep V. This one I was just calling a super V. And well, this one I broke the center out of. There you go. So you guys all recognize that one. I called it a looper. So these are just all, some I looked at off of the Weld Racing site. So what I'm going to do next with these is I've already done the CAE on this wheel. So I'm going to bounce it off of some stuff and try and destroy it and see how it is. I'm actually going to glue these up with some tires that I actually just finished printing. And that's what I was cleaning before the video started. So I'm going to get together with Frank at some point this week or maybe after Kentucky, because I know he's trying to get ready for that, to test them, to make sure they're okay. The nice part is I've already spun them and all that kind of stuff. They're super true. They're within like 2,000ths around, which was really, really good. I would say it's as good or better than the best injection molded wheels I've seen. On top of that, the weight for a single front tire is 18 grams. So with some tweaks or whatever to them, or the rubber profile or anything like that, they may be around 20, but I still believe that's about 10 grams per tire, per front tire lighter. The diameter is, I believe it's 2.85 inches. Yeah, 2.85 inches. And they are only about, they're just shy of 5/8. So they're pretty narrow. So that was kind of the point. I did go and look at some of the actual, pro modified drag car tires. I was surprised to see how out of like scale the RC car tires are versus real. So I originally started drawing these to proper scale, and then went back on it and kind of made something that's like a hybrid. So these are actually closer to scale than like everybody using the buggy front tires or some of the stuff I've seen, diameter and width wise. So I tried to make them pretty realistic, but so that's pretty much it. I do plan on doing a lot of other stuff. But like I was saying too, I want everybody to understand that I can make these, but I'm looking at around 3 or 4 hours per pair. Now, I might be able to bump that up a little bit as I get more experience with doing some of the stuff. However, I'm a little bit leery of selling them to people because I know we're in the age of Amazon Prime, where you order something and order it Friday and Sunday morning, like my printer, it was at the house. So I want people to be aware that I can make them and I have no problem making them for them, but being also a personalized item, it's not like I'm going to have a stack of tires with your name on them sitting on my shelf type of a thing. It's literally going to be, this is my print queue. Okay, you're going to go into the print queue. And then once it comes to that point in the print queue, you know, then I could print your stuff and it'll be 3-4 days, and you know, then it'll go out. So that's one of the things that I wanted to make the video first and talk to everybody to let you know what's going on with these. I appreciate the interest in them, and trust me, I have no problem making them and letting you guys know what they'll be. So just to give you an idea, I will be doing just some generic ones, you know, no names like molded into them type of a thing, or whatever, printed into them. And those will be $35 a pair, and they'll be the tire, wheel, and the hubcap all together. So I might even just mount them here myself, just so that I know that they're all good and glued and everybody can be happy. There will be 5 or 6 different types of wheels. Like I said, the 4 styles that I said, plus another one that I had done originally, and then maybe one more that like an arrow wheel, like a full-on dish wheel. So there will be 6 wheels. So there'll be 6 different styles. You can have your name on them, name or whatever. No, like, I won't do any like text. Text will be it. No additional like you know, logos or smoking tires, or, you know, like I was joking with Butters about, you know, his butt cheeks or something like that on there. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. So nothing additional to draw, just because it's all going to be so time intensive to do everything specialized. But like I said, I think they'll be pretty good. They're going to be really light compared to any of the other tires I've weighed. Frank gave me a bunch of different tires to check out. So I expect them to run true, run well, and they should survive a crash. I don't see any reason why not. I myself, even with this normal like 3D, the regular 3D printer resin, which is generally pretty hard but pretty brittle, I wouldn't be afraid to race it in a drag car at all. The other material that I'm actually going to use with them is more of the ABS-like material. So with those, they'll definitely be more durable, and they should be pretty safe, especially after I finish the CAE, the FEA analysis on these, to make sure that they all kind of pass that minimum threshold for an impact test. So trying to think if I missed anything. But yeah, so that'll be it. Basically, it'll be it. It'll be a minimum of a couple days. You know, until, like, if you ordered some, probably a couple days for me to get them printed and cured and all that kind of stuff, and then back out the door. So, because I also want to do a couple other things with them still. So right now, the ones that I just printed, the other test I've been doing was just stretch, to take them out and stretch them really hard to see if there was any kind of like permanent elongation, so that if there was any trouble, so if we were spooling them up, if anything crazy like that happens, you know, if somebody like has an air compressor and is blowing off their front tire and they spin it faster than they would even go out on the track, you know, that the tire's not going to explode or anything crazy like that. So so just doing some of those tests to make sure the tires return to size and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing with all these right now. I have done a ton of prints of just miscellaneous stuff, measuring tolerances. I'm pretty happy with a lot of the stuff I've done and figured out so far, as far as getting the tolerancing to where I'm within, you know, 0.05 of a millimeter, sometimes dead on. So just a couple little things I'm doing to get that more consistent. Now the printer I got is the Elegoo Saturn. I just started printing with the standard black resin that they have. I won't lie, it stinks. It's not the best smell. They do make little like charcoal filter, like battery powered things that go inside of the printer. I'm going to definitely be ordering some of those to clear up the smell. There's a few other things. I did put some links down in the YouTube description. I have signed up for the Amazon affiliates. Now, the reason why I did that was so if anybody is interested in buying a printer or any of the stuff I'm using or going to be using in future videos, you guys can click on that stuff, and it does help give me a little bit of a commission. That would be greatly appreciated, because what I plan on doing with this is doing a lot of testing with all the resins. I really want to get a pretty comprehensive library. I'm actually going to be setting up kind of a crash rig. Now, I've seen a lot of other like 3D printing people online, do some of the basic tests and whatever, but I want to do a bunch of them specific to RC usage, front suspension arms, caster blocks, whatever, and then figure out some materials or some mixes of resin, because I've also seen that they take say 1 or 2, maybe even 3, different resins, and mix them all together to kind of get the properties they want. So that's the type of thing also I want to do, to where I can kind of build a test rig. And see, the reason behind this, again, is I really enjoy this part of it, the design and just making crazy stuff. I was always kind of known for that, and still to this day I love drawing. So, but also with RC racing, to me, I feel like a lot of times everybody's gone too much the way of they wait for this manufacturer to make it or this guy to make it or whatever. If more of the community, say, you got one guy in your group, your local racing group, that knows, either the CAD stuff like I do or the 3D printing stuff, and guys start working together, I mean, you can print and make your own stuff and save yourselves a lot of money versus thousands of dollars in some of these cars and some of the stuff that I've seen. And it kills me to see like the way that touring car and 12 scale and some of these other classes and categories have gone, where the cars are so crazy expensive. And seeing how many new people are in drag racing, to me, is awesome. So anything that I can do to try and help keep it be a little bit more of a fun type of thing like this, like more of a maker class type of thing, where you're not waiting on X-ray to make an $800 or $900 touring car or crazy stuff like that, I'm all about it. If I can print this in my basement and go out and be competitive and have some fun, that's the way I want to race and want to do stuff and want to help people do stuff. So I guess that's pretty much it. So so feel free to subscribe, like the video, ask some questions. Feel free to question, on the channel, or on my Facebook page. If anybody's really interested in tires, they are going to be $35 for no names on them, unpersonalized, I should say. And I forget what it was, 35, 45. Yeah, 35 for a blank pair, 45 with the name, and then $8 for a little paint guide. And actually, I'll show that because I don't think I did that. My computer won't switch over. All right, I can do it this way. All right, so it'll be just something simple like that. So I have to cut out little tabs to still keep the centers of the letters okay, and then something to be able to set your fingers on, to be able to hold it in place. I, of course, don't want to make it huge, so if you want, you can tape it onto the tire or whatever. The other thing is I'm leaving the center open, so if you guys want to paint the rims black or any other color that you want to, you can spray them that way too, and then do the letters. So I kind of left them open like that. I didn't make it a full enclosed thing. That way you have the options to do what you want to do. If you really want to personalize your stuff, you can do this however you want. So I think that's pretty much it. All right. All right, look at some questions here. Mike, yes, I did print some of these tires on the printer. Yes, I'm using the printer to make some tires some other ways also. Um, so that's the part that I don't. You can make these on the printers. The settings are really difficult, and I'll be honest. Like when you print them, I saw some guys like Butters that was asking to put some stuff on the backside. Come on, focus. So anyway, all the supports and stuff that you have to build. Oh, that's what I was going to show. Let me do that real quick, and that'll explain a lot there. Uh, all right. Apologize. So this is Shitubox, or as I lovingly call it, Shitbox. This is the program where you set up all of your print files. So you basically import a STL file, you position them, you can rotate, scale, all that stuff. This is just basic. They make a pro version with all kinds of crazy stuff in it. But you can set up your supports, and this is where it gets really complicated. Is there's just setting after setting after setting in here for the top where the support meets the model, the middle, the bottom, whether you want rafts or skateboards or skates rather, all kinds of different things. So this is where you kind of set up the print files. This will be the next one that's going into the machine next. These are the wheels that I'm going to prepare for Frank to go test. For the tires I'm going to make for him. Then in settings, you got all your different lift times and all this stuff. So there's just a ton of different settings and everything in this, and this is some of the stuff that I'll share with some of the guys if anybody gets one of these printers and wants to play with it. Otherwise, if you have different printers, you're going to have to just figure them out on your own. So let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, Mike, I printed that tire on there. I've got a few different materials already that I'm playing with. That one that was on there was okay. I have to reset up. That's the only thing I don't like about that program is maybe the pro version does it, but it doesn't save your print settings every time. So you have to keep changing your, you make sure you have to load in the right like seed file for all your printer settings each time. So I've already screwed that up once and started printing some of the rubber stuff when I was actually trying to print some of the plastic stuff, and the settings are way different. So let's see. What's up there in the UK? Ismail, yes, I would. I would not mind printing some other stuff. I actually do plan on doing projects. I want to do a no prep drag car, mostly printed. Of course, some carbon fiber and stuff that we're going to get printed or get machined. Some of the other stuff will be Associated or somebody brand. Maybe I've actually talked to Dustin Malakote about this whole project over at 5.7, and let him know that I didn't want to make a car per se in competition against him, but just wanted to make one as a fun project to see how fast, how possible it is to make a 3D printed car go. Can we make one that would be competitive with some of the the production cars that he runs? And no disillusions about it. Like, a 3D printed car is going to be more fragile, without a doubt. So if I can test with some materials and stuff and get it to where it's more stable and can take a little bit of a licking, that would be awesome. That would be ideal. But right now I'm not expecting that. So but I do plan on making one of those. I do plan on printing. Believe it or not, I have done a bunch of printed stuff from Shapeways for other stuff that I started drawing and never finished just because of the cost of the prints for some 12 scale cars and a bunch of other things. So I do plan on printing some of that stuff, which would be, for me, will be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the track up in Bay City getting redone with some new carpet and everything. So I'm definitely going to try and go up there and print and run some of that stuff. So we'll see. So if you like what I'm doing, like I said, give me a like, subscribe, comment, and you know, I'm definitely going to keep uploading a bunch more stuff here in the coming months. So it'll be fun. Thanks, Chasing Checkers. Jose, right now for these files, I will not. Just because of the fact that I just invested a lot of money into the printer and all the resins and the things that I'm doing to make these tires. My wife and like I said, some of my racing friends would shoot me. I did make a deal though that if we got to like 10,000 subscribers on the channel type of a thing, then I would put all these files up, and I will make a video specifically showing how I'm actually making these, not just the printer settings, but some of the other stuff that I'm doing extra behind the facts. So again, this isn't just take a file and throw it on the printer and you can make yourself some tires. There's a lot more going into it than that. So like I said, anybody has any questions, you guys know where to find me. Good, wasn't too long. All right, have a good night every weekend, or have a good night everybody, and have a great weekend. Later.